Hi everybody, very welcome to Mentour and yet another video podcast. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. Today we are going to be talking about the wing walking woman, a mom in Ukraine who decided that while she was disembarking with her kids that she was feeling a little bit hot and it would be a great idea to open the overwings to get some fresh air. We're going to be talking about, how much trouble this will bring to her, and also what would happen from a pure technical view to the aircraft if you do something like this. So stay tuned.
Wind 31016, everyone right, right on right. Clear to land, 31 right. Delta 216, is produced.
Guys, before I start this video, I just want to highlight that I have created an Amazon page. The reason I've done this is because I keep getting questions about what my favorite aviation books are, what you should be reading or doing before you start your flight training, what kind of material I'm using to do my YouTube channel, and just generally about things like my logbook and what kind of headsets I'm using and things like that. So if you check out the link in the description below or up here, I think I'll be able to do a link to it, then you can go to that Amazon page and you can check it out. And also just remember as a disclaimer that this is my Amazon page, and if you do choose to buy something from there, well then I will earn a little bit of money on the purchases you make. So thanks for that, guys. So Sandra, jumping out of the overwing exit because you feel a little bit warm, good or bad idea?
What? Really bad.
Why?
What do you mean jumping out?
Yeah, just before you're disembarking, you're there, you have a man, 2 kids with you, and then you feel a little bit warm, so you jump out the overwing exit. Good or bad?
What? Really bad?
Yeah. So, this happened last week, and the world's media has made a field day out of this. What happened was that Ukraine International Airlines was doing a charter flight from Kiev to Antalya in Turkey and then back again. And this family, consisting of 2 kids, a mom and a dad, had done the flight over and they're now coming back to Kiev in Ukraine. And the aircraft had taxied into gate, stopped, shut down both engines and started to disembark. Now, this family was seated towards the back of the aircraft and they were only using the front steps, as you can see from the picture here. So it took a little bit of a while to disembark, and this can be frustrating. I know, when you're sitting down, you're waiting for everyone to get their bags off, especially now when there's extra time taken during the disembarkation because of COVID. So she started feeling a little bit hot. And while the rest of her family decided to just go out and disembark as normal, when this woman reached the overwing exit on the left side, she just turned off the aisle, opened the overwing exit and got out, sat down on the wing at the back side of the wing for a while to get a little bit of fresh air and then decided to get back in. So let's have a look at the video and see how it looked like. So here we see probably a ramp worker that have seen this happening. Zooming in, and there she is, sitting, taking some fresh air, It's nice to cool down a little bit after a long flight. And here one of the cabin crew members are calling her from inside, telling her that, maybe you should get back in now. It's a good idea. So she thinks, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, and wearing her mask is just climbing back into the aircraft again, while the ground crew is looking on fairly stunned. So, was this a very good idea then? Well, first of all, was she in any real danger? And the answer to that is probably no. The engines are all shut down. She could fall down obviously from the back of the wing, but even that wouldn't be too dangerous to her. So, no, she's not in really any danger here. The overwing exits are called emergency overwing exits for a reason. They are not supposed to be used this way. The only reason that we have overwing exits, you have 4 overwing exits on the 737-800, and on the smaller types of 737 you have 2 of them, is because we need to be able to evacuate the aircraft using half of the available exits in 90 seconds. So it was deemed necessary to have these emergency exits there. I've done an entire video about the emergency exit of the wings. You can click the link here and check it out. But basically what you need to know is that these overwing exits are what we call canopy type. It means that they open by themselves outwards. And because they open outwards like that, they're not like the other exits on the aircraft, which are being held in place by the air pressure. No, these ones actually need to get locked. And they are locked when at least 3 of the 4 normal exits are closed, engines are running, and the thrust is set for takeoff, or the aircraft feel that the weight on wheel switches, which are on the landing gear, indicate airborne. So basically when the aircraft is starting to roll down the runway while we're airborne until we land and start taxiing in. After that, those mechanical locks disengage, and that's because we might at any point need to evacuate once we're down on the ground. And also if we lose DC power, by the way. So if we do need to evacuate, as this person did, you reach in and you pull down a handle inside. That removes a plastic cover. And that's important to know because that plastic cover is actually needed for dispatch. We're not allowed to fly that aircraft unless that plastic cover is there. And that's because it's there to keep people from inadvertently kind of holding on to that during takeoff or inadvertently opening it. So you need to have the plastic cover there. When she did this, that plastic cover would have gone away and need to be replaced. Okay. Now, if that door is opened, like she did, you need to close that door in a very specific way. There are some flaps that needs to be folded in properly, and if you don't do it properly, then the door will indicate that there is a fault, and it will do so through a system called the Proximity Switch Electronic Unit, the PSEU. That will indicate a fault up in the cockpit to us. We'll get a master caution, overhead, PSEU light, which is only available on the ground, by the way. But when we have that, we're not allowed to dispatch. So we would probably need maintenance personnel to close the door properly and to replace that seal, which means that this aircraft effectively is not available to fly until maintenance personnel have looked into it. So if Ukrainian International Airlines did not have maintenance personnel here at this base, they could potentially face having to fly in an engineer or to use a different aircraft, which would require some substantial time, and it will delay the outbound passengers a lot. So this is not a smart thing to do, all right? This is not a smart thing to do. And because of this, this mom has now likely been blacklisted by this airline. Now, something that you need to understand about blacklist is that there are several types of blacklist. You have the international blacklists that the aviation authorities around the world can put on top of airlines. So EASA, for example, can decide that if a certain airline does not fulfill the safety requirements, as in doesn't have a proper maintenance schedule or don't have proper crew training or things like that, well, in that case, that airline is going to be blacklisted from flying over European skies until they have rectified it, until they're back and can show that they're safe enough to fly. That's one type of blacklist. But what we're talking about here is the passenger blacklist. So an airline can decide that a specific passenger are not allowed to fly on their aircraft. They can only do so if they can motivate it with that passenger having misbehaved badly or haven't shown any regard for their safety procedures, haven't listened to their cabin crew, or been verbally or physically abusive towards other customers, other passengers or crew. But if they do decide this, well, then you will not be able to fly on that airline again. And sometimes airlines actually share these blacklists, because it's likely that if this passenger has misbehaved on one airline, well, then the other airlines are probably not interested in letting that passenger fly either. And that can really make your vacation plans a lot more complicated. Now, the sharing of blacklists is fairly rare. She is only going to be blacklisted on this particular airline, but it can be for life. It doesn't mean that they will take this off after a certain time. You might be blacklisted for life on this particular airline, and that's not good. Other famous people that have been blacklisted is, for example, Snoop Dogg was blacklisted by British Airways after he and his entourage of about 30 people had a brawl in one of their launches in Heathrow, I think it was. I believe that he's still blacklisted from British Airways. And there's been other celebrities as well that's been blacklisted. But the point I want to make here is that you don't want to become blacklisted. And this is an extraordinary stupid way of becoming blacklisted. I mean, if you're disembarking the aircraft, you see people are disembarking in the front, you know that it's only a matter of half a minute to a minute before you're out as well, especially since your husband and your kids have disembarked. In this case, the kids was seen standing on the ground, pointing up, saying, "That's my mom up there." So why would someone do something like this? Well, the fact is that you never know why people do things. I have a feeling that this was some kind of a dare, something that she might have talked about with a friend or with her husband or whatever before they landed and decided to do it. Because I cannot come up with any reasonable reason that someone would do this. But that's about it, guys. Now, if you guys have more things like this that you want me to explain from a pilot point of view or from an airline's point of view, then file it in the discussion in the comments below. I hope that you like this kind of videos. If you do, make sure that you've subscribed to the channel, that you've highlighted the little notification bell so you know when I'm doing these special videos or when I'm doing maybe a live stream or something like that. And that's it. Once again, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I hope that I see you next time. Bye-bye. Right, guys, I really hope that you liked that. If you want more content like that, more aviation content, well then, check this out. I hope that you have subscribed to the channel and that you've highlighted the little notification bell. See you inside of the Mentour Aviation app, and have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye-bye.